Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, c'est Jackie, for another JaYo reviews. I am here with the lovely Jerry,
Hello, hello.
and Happy New Year to you all. Happy New Year 2025. We hope that this new year will be one filled with only good things, or mostly good things, if possible. Lots of joy, peace, happiness, wealth, love, and great health. Stay healthy, people, and stay positive. Today, we're going to talk about Squid Games Season 2. And yeah, I'm really excited. I loved this season. How did you enjoy this season, Jerry?
Oh, I'm right there with you. I loved it. Oh,
Let's start with a rating from 0 to 10. What did you, yeah, how would you rate the season?
I'm gonna give it a 9.
Okay.
The only reason I'm not giving it a 10
Uh-huh.
is, we'll get to that later, is because of how they ended it.
Mm.
Yeah, I was very annoyed. It's like, I mean, I don't mind a cliffhanger, but the well, I'll get to it later when we talk about what we didn't like. But yeah, that's the only thing that kept it from being a 10 was the ending.
I got you. Um, I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10. Um, yeah, I don't know. I have to think it through more, but yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. Well, we know that I'm team like perfection does not exist. If it's a 10, it's gonna be rare. But yeah, okay, let's talk about the things we liked. What did you like about this season?
Oh, so many things. First of all, you know, it's always hard when you have something so successful to try to follow it up and figure like what are you going to do that's going to be original and different, but still as good. And I really like how they didn't just try to repeat season one. Like
Mm-hmm.
they really found new angles and new things to make it, you know, like I think as good, but in different ways,
Mm-hmm.
showing us other sides of things. And yeah, so I thought it was really just well executed in terms of a follow up to something really successful.
Mm.
I mean, the performances, um, just like I mean, like all the lead characters had like
Yeah.
just amazing performances. Um, I was fortunate enough to so the first episode I saw way like months ago, like
Mm.
a special like preview thing with the uh, the director and the lead actor were there talking about it, and so I heard the whole story about the um, the actor who plays I don't know. Forgive me, I don't know anybody's names or pronounce anybody's names, but I'll just say they're characters.
Okay.
So the guy that plays
I think I see what their names are.
the guy on the subway who's
Oh,
finding the
oh,
people.
Gong Yu. I think his name is. I love him.
Yeah, who's apparently like a big star in
Oh
Korea.
yes,
Yeah,
Goblin. Yeah, he's done lots of things. I love him.
right. So yeah, so they got him to come back for season two, and
Mm-hmm.
just I mean, he just knocks it out of the park.
Yes, yes, he did.
Um, so yeah, just so many great performances. Uh, I loved the tension that they build in certain scenes. I mean, just like on the edge of your seat. Um,
Thank you.
and just being creative, like finding I mean, I guess, these the games that they play are like well-known kids games, so I don't
Hmm.
know any of these games, but or most of them. I mean, some of them are sort of universal, uh, but the just the way that they play it out with the different games and just yeah, just the whole execution of it. Um, yeah. What else? Yeah, I guess I mean those are the main things. So yeah, the writing, the performances, the originality, the execution of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think when something is really successful, it can be hard exactly to follow up and to make something that is still original, still keeps you on your toes, still interesting, right? And Squid Game season two did not disappoint in that matter. For those of you who have watched, I'm gonna give a quickly like the digest of Squid Game season one, and then we'll talk about a little bit more season two, and then what I liked. In season one, Ji-yoon, this older man who has a family and everything, he is a gambler, and he has a gambling problem, and has lots of debts, and this mysterious guy comes and plays with him a childhood game at a train station and then gives him an invitation to some sort of games. And he says, this is an opportunity for you to win lots and lots of money and get rid of all of your debt. And so he's desperate, so he decides to join. And when he joins, he realizes, he's in this kind of a warehouse style place with hundreds, like there are about 400 plus people, and they are all wearing this like uniform, a green uniform, and they have to play 6 games in 6 days, and whoever is left at the end, it can be one person, it could be more than one person, according to, well, season two. In season one, I think it can only be one person. You can have this prize money. And the prize money is for each person that is eliminated, they give, I think, 10 million won or 100 million won. I forget how much they give. I think
Uh,
it's 10 million
yeah, 10
won.
million, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
And 10 million won, to give some context, well, when I went in Korea in 2016, 1,000 won was about $1. So, you know, I'll check just quickly how much it's worth. But and they're all really excited. It's about, oh, $6,781. 10 million won. So maybe it's 100 million won. Maybe it's 60,000. I don't know. But it's a lot of money. And so ultimately you could get 400, 4 billion won and 560 million won. Anyway, this what they play, each game is a childhood game that they played, like red light green light. I think most of us in the world actually know this game and it exists all over, which is really fun. It's fun to see how there's some Korean games that translate to Senegalese, French, American, like Mexican games. But they soon realize after the first game that no, you don't just get eliminated, you die. That's what happens. You die. And there are other subplots that happen. Like a police officer is trying to find his brother who has disappeared. And there's the people who not manage the game, but who like are the workers for the game, are also trying to get some more money on the side for themselves by doing some human trafficking of organs, of the dead players, several subplots, and they work really well together. It's fun, and you see this happy-go-lucky gambler evolve throughout the season one, as well as you get really attached with some players and really hate other players. It's wonderful. Now in season two, Jiun, the main guy, protagonist, won in season one the games, and so he is, sent with a ton of money, and he's told to go to the U.S. with his family to live life, enjoy his money, and live his days. Oh, and there's a big plot twist in season one where one of the guys who is orchestrating the games, an old man, was actually also a player in the games. And by the end of season one, he dies. Now, in season two, I think a big question for me
Let's
was like,
just to point out, and he was player one in the game, and that
yes.
that is that will bring up one of the things that I did not like about the new season. But go ahead.
Oh, good. No, good to know. Good to know. I also, I don't love predictability. And so I was like, I wish it had been camouflaged, this thing in season two as well. So for season two, we have 7 episodes that they took out, and the 7 episodes are not complete. So if you're expecting, like a complete story like season one, I'm sorry, friends, that's not the case for season two. We are, we end in a place where we're like, okay, what's next? But Jiun decides he is so pissed. He gets a call from the new organizer of the games and decides I'm gonna get revenge. And I think it's survivor's guilt. He feels a lot of guilt for being the one to survive when there were so many wonderful people in the games that he met who were good people and who needed the money for really good reasons, like reasons that were not selfish and that were not their own fault or because of their gambling debt or anything like that. And he carries that into season two, and he tries to hunt down the people who are organizing the game to shut it down. And in the end, he gets caught because he's not as smart as they are, and he decides to play again. Oh, and it's 45.6 billion won. It's not 4 billion. He decides to join the games in order to stop it from inside. And on the outside, he's working with the policeman from season one who was trying to find his brother, who ends up finding him and finding out that his brother is some way, somehow a part of this system of games and gets shot by his brother. So now he's trying to find him, who knows for what reason. And they're working together to do that. Cool, that was a lot of information.
Yeah.
Things I liked. I liked how it started. I liked how they were first trying to find the recruiter, who is Gong Yu. For those of you who are big, K-drama fans, y'all know who Gong Yu is. It always surprises me that he's 6 feet because he's so like, skinny and stuff. Like I just imagine him being like a shorter king, but gosh, he's tall, he's gorgeous. I love his character. I love how they are encountered together and how they really egg each other on, and that Jiun does not back down. He has nothing to lose and he's ready to die for his cause, for his revenge, which I think that just makes the stakes so high and so fun. Um, and then you meet, the new players. I think there were a lot of really great players that stood out this season, and I was really happy about. There were some where I was like, oh, I wish that had been they had been developed more or lasted longer. Um, it would be more interesting this way. But that's just me. Other things I liked. I loved that, you know, you think and Jian thinks that the games are going to be the same. Of course, right? They do this every year. Why would they change? It would save them a lot of money if they had the same thing. But again, this system is a lot smarter than him. And though the first game is the same as the first game in season one, everything else is totally different. And so it's not great for him. It's great for us though, because we're watching like who's gonna make it, who's not going to make it. Um,
Well,
I
there
love
was one that was kind of the same.
which one?
Well, I don't want to give the spoiler away, but
Let's do it.
think
Spoiler
think
alert,
about
spoiler.
it. It wasn't really a game. It was more.
Oh, at the end. At the end. Oh yes. Before
Oh, well, towards the end. Yeah, I'm not. I don't remember if it was the last episode or the next to last episode.
um where they're like trying to survive the night.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the last episode. Yeah, it's the actual last episode, episode 7. Yeah, that's true. That in terms of that, those rules are the same too. Um, there were some. I love that there were some players who were, a mix of bad and like good and just chaotic. And I was like here rooting for them. I was like, yes. Oh, 45 billion won in American dollars ends up being 30,520,000. So it's probably going to be like 32 million or something like that with 45.6 billion won. So, oh, somebody already asked the question. Interesting. Cool.
That's pretty close to the. Oh no, wait. I'm trying to remember now. The American version was it? Oh no, no. The American version was 4.56 million.
4.56 million. I still haven't watched the Squid Games. Like, Squid Games was so popular, they actually did a reality TV show where people like competed in games. They didn't die, thankfully. But
They
yes, and
simulated dying.
yes, exactly. But I never watched. Would you ever play such a game?
uh, well, for me, kind of yes and kind of no. I don't know. The only
Mm.
thing that bugs me is like wouldn't want to eat the food that they give.
Why? Oh, because you're a vegan and they wouldn't give you anything
Yeah,
vegan?
right. It's just like you just eat what they give you, and
Mm,
yeah.
I hear that. I hear
But
that.
I mean, I don't know. For millions of dollars, I guess I would.
Yeah, I would totally play. Just because it's it reminds me of Survivor, but easier. Childhood games I can handle, and it's all about emotional intelligence. These games, it's all about that. And Survivor is the same. Like, yes, they say like, there are some brawn, like you have to like physically fit for Survivor, and then you have to be smart, and then you have to be like emotionally intelligent, but really, really, really what it ends up being at the end is emotional intelligence and how you create alliances with people, break alliances with people, like really like play the game with people. Um, and it's the same here in Squid Games. It's a lot of emotional intelligence. And this season, what I loved was that I felt like this season was about can humanity be saved? And Jian, obviously, his mindset is this needs to be stopped because every life matters, right? No one should be put in a situation where they have to choose between their life and money. And he doesn't think that like human life is worth way more than any of the money that they could ever give you. Whereas the people in the games have a very cynical and terrible point of view where Gong Yu is like, these people are dogs. They're less than dogs, right? Like they're they don't matter, and their lives are disposable. Like it could be any, and they and choice. That's the other big theme is like you have the choice, right, to choose whether to sacrifice your life for this or not. And if you choose, then it is your fault, or you have to assume the consequences, basically, of your actions. How do you feel about those themes, Jerry?
Oh, I mean, I like the themes.
Hmm.
I, it's very everything is very thought provoking. You always think about, oh, what would I do if I were in these circumstances, and I
Hmm.
think that's part of the attraction of the show is that you can like everyone can kind of relate to all the characters in some aspect.
Yeah, no, for sure. Um, what were some other highlights of this season for you?
Um, well, just I just liked the I guess the scene work
Mm,
in a lot of it. There was just some like really just intense scenes, with two people just um, uh, just um, kind of I think the first season leaned a little bit more on the action maybe, and this one they delved into just um this kind of scene work where two people can really just just really dig into it,
mm,
just have a real back and forth kind of
yeah,
great this great scene.
I can see that. No, for sure. Um, I loved, for me, it's always about, not always, but like the characters really driving it, and I really enjoy the character development um, that did occur. We'll talk about the things I didn't like afterwards in terms of that. But I loved, for example, in episode 4, they play this game called, it's a six-legged pentathlon, and they have to clear challenges, a couple of challenges as a team. There are five, I think, people in each team, and they have to clear five challenges in, I think, 5 minutes or something like that in a specific time frame. And I loved how, they showed the spirit of camaraderie and like how people were really cheering on for each other. But then the very next minute, once the game is done, you see the greed and how some people are like, shoot, I wish more people had died. You're like, wow. And just the juxtaposition of those two things was just, I think, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's talk about things we didn't like then. Well, let's go into it.
Okay, well, I mean, first and foremost, as I said earlier on, the ending, I felt really cheated by the end.
Mm,
I didn't know. So, like I said, I saw the first episode a couple months ago,
mm,
and then I'm on a. I guess I could say at this point. I mean, I don't know. I'm not supposed to say it publicly, I guess, but on the SAG nominating committee. So,
oh,
um, so we had a screener for the season, and they first gave us episodes 1 through 4. They released those, which I immediately watched. I'd already seen one, so I watched two, three, 4,
oh,
anxiously waiting for the rest of the season, and then they released 5 through 7.
oh.
But it wasn't clear to me that that was the full season. And so after season 7, I'm like, and I knew season 1 had 9 episodes.
Mm,
I'm like, oh, are there going to be two more episodes? So I was like waiting, 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 and then they released it onto Netflix, and I saw that there's only seven and so I started looking it up, and wait, are there more? What's going on? And then I said, no, that's it. That's the end of season one. Or season two. You got to wait for season three. And so
Mhm.
I was really annoyed by that. I didn't feel like that was a satisfying ending for a season. It was more of like a half season, because I guess they're doing two and three as kind of like a one complete thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's first and foremost the thing I didn't like. Um, the other thing I didn't like, some of the performances I felt were a little over the top. And
Oh.
you you pointed out one of the, I think, most offensive in terms of that aspect, scenes, which is that challenge. I felt, yeah, it was like people were kind of trying to. It was a lot of sort of indicating and um, just kind of a lot of over the top acting, and things like that, where it's like the clock is running, and they're wasting time, congratulating each other and stuff. It's like it's like nobody's gonna do that when the clock is ticking down and you're in a hurry. And yeah, it was a little bit like forced. So yeah, and throughout the season, there's like moments where some of the characters, I think, just but I mean, I prefer that to like underdoing it. Like, I prefer
Mhm.
people at least going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were moments, various places where I felt people were like pushing too hard to um,
Mm,
over the top.
I understand. I mean, yeah, this could definitely lend itself to that. Other things you didn't like or enjoy?
Um, I think those. I mean, those are like the main
Hmm.
things. Um, oh, right. And the other big thing,
Hmm.
which we sort of alluded to earlier, is
Yeah.
that in season one, the guy in charge was player one,
Hmm.
and in spoiler alert, in this in this season, there is
Yeah.
also a guy in a similar position as player one.
Hmm.
And so the fact that there's not even a suspicion
That part.
slight in the slightest of this
Right.
player,
Yeah.
it's like, well, yeah, that didn't.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. I also was like, for me, it's not that like, I mean, it's hard to surprise me at this point in my life with a lot of things because I've read hundreds of thousands of books. I've watched lots and lots and lots of movies and TV shows, right? Like it's hard. It's hard to surprise me because I know and I can imagine, oh, where's this gonna go? And player one, like, well, I'll start from the beginning. For me, one thing I didn't like from the beginning was yeah, I can't even think of the things I didn't like from the other episodes. Those I think were fun, the chase, like trying to find who they were. But the predictability, well, I knew that Jian was not going to be successful. I think that was too predictable. I think it would have been more interesting to see something else. I don't know. Like maybe and he does catch at least the one of the recruiters, right, who we talked about before, Gongyu, and there's a really great scene between the two of them. But I think it would have been more fun for him to have gone a few steps, him and the policeman, a few steps more before getting caught. That's just my feeling. Because then it would have really been like, ah, no, you were so close. And here I was like, no, you're not even gonna get that close. And he didn't. And then yeah,
But
but
I just have to say though,
mhm,
I mean, conversely though, I kept wanting. I mean, as much as I was enjoying all that stuff, I was
yeah,
like, I want to get to the game. Let's get to the game. Let's get to the game. So I was kind of, itching for, him to get into the game. So
yeah.
yeah,
No, I get that.
I totally get what you're saying too.
Hmm. I like, more element of surprise. Like we could have cut some of the stuff at the beginning that they were, trying to introduce us to some characters that were going to be important, including a person who is working for the games and who also, is trying to find her child who's in North Korea. It's very interesting, like the subplots sometimes that occurs, and it can be kind of confusing because some people are like, wait, is there a relation between her and the North Korean woman from season one? I don't think there is, but yeah, it's always interesting, this storyline with like North Korea and all that. That being said, yes, player one. Come on, guys. Really? You could have, and I didn't want to know. I think it would have been so much cooler if he had been a totally different number and we didn't know. Well, we would have known because we saw his face in season one. So we would have known, but like, then Jiun wouldn't have known, and it would be even more believable that he wouldn't, like, think about him as the organizer of the games, and maybe be suspicious of whoever is put in one. I think that would have been a really great added
That
element,
would have been cool. Yeah.
and him just being like, okay, I'm gonna watch him and like maybe use him or force him to tell me information. I don't know, something that was annoying. Um, Number two, what else was annoying? Oh, I have to talk about good things again later. I I also didn't like that it ended with a cliffhanger, but I thought the way it ended made sense. I actually wasn't like pissed by the ending. I was annoyed by one person's death, and that was T.O.P., who plays the chaotic Thanos. He was one of the highlights for me of this show. He was so interesting, and I loved how, we want to hate him because he treats one of the other players, who basically caused a bunch of people to lose money because he gave advice with cryptocurrency or something with an investment, and the investment went terribly for everyone, including himself, actually. And we're like, oh, we don't like this dude. But then he does things, he treats people really nicely, or and he tries to mediate between his henchman and another weaker player. Like it's so he's so interesting and so fun.
He
I
was one of the
really love.
colorful characters. I mean,
So
literally
colorful.
and figuratively, yeah.
Yeah, I
And I
loved
loved
it.
all of his like he would use a lot of English phrases too,
Hmm.
which I was kind of cool, just thrown
It
in.
was. Yeah, and he used them correctly too. He was fun. I really enjoyed him as a character. I know I'm not talking about the things I didn't like. I loved the transgender woman. I know that was a big discussion in Korea as well as the world in terms of the actor who plays the transgender woman is not
Never happen
transgender.
in this country.
Hmm?
That would never happen in this country
In
today.
the US, yeah. Well, because we have a lot more actors and a lot more, diversity. And that's what people forget. In Korea, like the LGBTQIA plus community is still very much not seen, okay? It's still hidden. It's still not something that's like out in the open. There are pockets of that in Seoul, in the capital, but like in the rest of the country, it's still something that's very private, and that, like, yeah, it's not open like that. And the industry in Korea is so conservative, is so intense, that they don't have the actors actually to play that role. And so I know the question for a lot of people is like, then should you even have that character? I'm always of the opinion of, if you can do it honestly and do it justice, then I don't see why not. And in this case, I think the actor did a great job. I was really like keyed in and here for their story. And their arc. Like I thought it was fabulous.
Yeah.
I really loved him slash her in this show. And I wish, netizens would back off and chill and like, relax. I know they can be really intense and push even people to consider suicide. Like TOP, he was another one who played Thanos. He was another one that I was very happy about his story because this is his comeback. He hasn't been seen in the media for years because after he had been caught with weed, the netizens came at him hard and like basically tried to push him towards suicide, which he attempted. Um, and yeah, I think that's insane. Like, could we not, people? Thank you. That would be wonderful. And then there were some some players that I were like, uh, you're not doing anything for this. Why do we have you? Like there are a couple players I'm always like lean towards giving us interesting players. Even the ones that like don't really matter, like give us more? Um yeah, I was annoyed by that. I was also annoyed by the predictability of this show. I knew from the moment I knew who player number one was. I was like, whatever Jiun decides to do, he's going to be foiled, which is annoying. It's annoying that, like, you can predict, at least in this season, that, like, Jiun is gonna fail. I don't want that. I want to be on the edge of my seat thinking, is he going to make it? Is he going to fail? Is he going to make it? Is he going to fail? And I didn't have that feeling for me because I was like, no, he's going to fail. He trusts this guy with his life. Like, trust him completely and wholeheartedly. It's going to fail. The other thing I also didn't like, there's another subplot about one of the people who is a part of, again, not managing, but they take care of the dead bodies or shoot people. They're part of the games, like workers. Number 11, the North Korean woman. There's a subplot where she is not with it with the people who are trying to traffic organs and she tries to stop it. But then she is, you know, abused so that she can like back off. And then after that, we don't really see her again. And I was just like, I want more. I think this is interesting subplot. I want to know, like, is she smart enough to think of another alternative way to stop them? That won't like get back to her.
Yeah, I have a feeling play a bigger role in season three.
I think so too. Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think so too. Um, yeah. And those, I think, were the only things I didn't like. Yeah. Oh, I didn't like that Thanos dies. Spoiler. Sorry, y'all. I was like, I wanted him to last a little bit longer. I think he's such a great, colorful, chaotic character. It would be fun to see what he does with some of the other games. And I think how many games did they end up playing in the end? Um, four games or three games?
Three games, I guess, and then yeah, and then the
And
riot.
so there are three more games that are left. Which game was your favorite game?
Uh, trying to remember.
So there was red light, green light. There was the six leg
Right,
um,
the five,
pentathlon,
yeah, five leg.
and then there was the merry-go-round.
Oh, right. Yes, the merry-go-round.
um,
Oh boy. Uh, oh God, I love them. I love them all. Well, I mean, the red light, green light is not my favorite. I mean, that's just not that interesting.
mm,
Uh, yeah,
it's called Mingle, is the last
I
thing.
Cool. Yeah, I think probably the five leg. Um,
The
yeah, I think that
six-legged
was
pentathlon.
yeah, yeah, that was probably the most interesting.
Mm, yeah, agreed. I think, you get to know personalities a lot more. Mingle is a fun, interesting game, one that I personally did not grow up with. Thank God. I feel like it's actually a
Well, it's a little bit of musical chairs. I mean, it's sort of,
eh,
but it's different. Yeah, a bit different. I mean, it's
but
got
different because you have to like find somebody and like
yeah,
break up
right.
alliances, make groups. So the point of Mingle is, you're on a merry-go-round, and once the music stops, they say how many people you have to have in a room, and they had 50 rooms. A reminder, you start the game with 456 players. So not everybody can fit in those rooms. So, for example, they say you have to be a team of two players. So, two go into the room. Or you have to be a team of six players. So, six people have to get together and go into a room. And because of the previous game with the five, there are lots of groups of five that have gotten, closer because of that last game. But when they call for four people, you gotta abandon one of those people, and there's a timer, of course. And if you're caught without being in a room, you get killed. Also, if you cheat, there's some people who cheated, who went into the room and pretended like they had their numbers and they didn't. They get killed because they are monitoring everything. So you cannot cheat. Yeah, that was harsh, harsh game. But I agree with you. The six-legged pentathlon was my favorite too. I loved learning more about Korean culture. Like some of the games, like the games where they have to pick up different like colored dice.
Yeah,
They're
it's
not
very
really
much
that.
like Jax. It's sort of
Is it
got
Jax? I've never played Jax, so I guess
oh, okay.
maybe that's why.
That's well-known American game. I don't know where else in the world they play Jax, but it reminded me a little bit of Jax. But
Mm. I was like, I have never seen a game like this. I did. I also was like, I don't understand what you're doing. I don't understand, like, what's the pattern? Like, I was confused,
yeah,
but I thought it was
Jax,
cool.
you have a rubber ball, and you have these things are called Jacks. They're like metal. I mean, but they're all the same, but they're like these metal things, and so you start out with like one. You start with one. You like throw it up in the air, and wherever it lands, and then you throw the ball up in the air, and the ball bounces once,
Hmm.
and then you catch it, and then before you catch the ball, you need to catch however many. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, you start with 10. You have 10 jacks,
Hmm.
throw them in the air, and so first you do your onesies. So you throw the ball up in the air, it bounces, and then before you catch it, you have to catch one jack at a time. So you got one jack, the ball, and then you do that for your 10 jacks, and then you do twosies, and then you have to pick up two jacks at a time before you
Okay.
get the ball, and then you do threesies, foursies, and all the way up to tensies, where you have to get all 10 jacks before you get the ball. So it had a similar kind of feel to that.
Hmm. Oh, interesting. I got you. Okay. Another subplot I thought of, in the show was the police officer, as we said, and one of the people, ex-gamblers, whatever. He's a guy, a thug who's working for Jian at the beginning, trying to find the recruiter. While him and the police officer are trying to find the island where the games are played, so that they can help Jian and they themselves can stop these games. Uh, they're aided by this um, fisherman, this guy who has a boat who saved the police officer in season one when he fell off the island, the cliff, after being shot by his brother. I both liked and disliked the fact that, I was suspicious of this boat guy, and by the end, my suspicions were confirmed. Again, I like to be surprised, and I like it when I'm not suspicious, first of all, and I'm like totally like, oh my gosh, what?
Well, I was suspicious of a different character. I mean, obviously we knew that somebody was a mole. But yeah, I
Yes.
thought it was going to be the like the military guy. I thought it was going to be him.
I thought that was too easy. It's like that's the boatsman. The boats that fisherman. I don't trust him. And in the end, I was confirmed. Ah. Any thoughts as to the season three, which is not really even a season three? They should have just been like real, for real with us and been like season two, part one, and then season two, part two. I think. But any thoughts about season two, part two? Do you think more than one person is going to win the games? What do you think? Do you think they'll ever find the island, the police officer? I think they will. I think eventually they'll find
I,
the island.
I I feel like, I mean, my understanding is that they're gonna wrap stuff up at the end of season three. So um,
And it's done? Like they're not continuing the show?
think so. I think so.
Oh,
That
wild.
my and that I think that I could be wrong, but that's what I think. In which case they will, I think, shut down the games. But I think
Really? I don't think they're gonna shut down the games, and I hope they won't.
well, what I think they'll do is it'll seem like it's shut down, but
Mm.
leaving it with the possibility of like somebody will be left like just leaving it open that there's that a potential for a continuation, but I
Mm.
think it'll be sort of a satisfying thing where I think Jiyun will get like he'll be satisfied thinking that it's over, but
Mm.
we'll see that.
Yeah, maybe the police officer, ooh, who he himself will be like, I understand where you're coming from and why you're doing this, and or maybe they'll continue the games without like killing at first, be like, okay, we'll do this game, but there's no real death.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that would be interesting if again a character we never suspected, like the old woman who's the mother. That would be fascinating,
That would be a
right?
choice.
It would be a crazy choice and a great choice where she's like, you know what? I've seen enough um, terribleness in humanity, and for terrible people, I want terrible people only to play this game. And they can play it and they can die and it's fine,
Yeah.
right?
You see in my chats? Just want to make sure you.
Ah, yes, yes. Oh, now I do. Sorry. Um, Thank you so much for this review, Jerry. Uh, and yeah, everyone, go watch Squid Game season two. I think it's a great show. I really was entertained, and I can't wait for part two. Oh, and I don't know if you have time to say, like, if you could play somebody, who would you play?
Oh, Jiyun, of course. I
Oh,
mean,
you would want to be Jiun?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I actually would not want to be Jiun. I think I would want to be. I mean, Jiun would be a great role because you're the protagonist, but I think I would want to be one of the other players, either TOP, Thanos. I think would be really fun, or to be player number one. I think that would be really fun too. I love, like, how he was thinking and trying to manipulate things. Cool. In the end, there are way more pros than cons. Go watch this show and let us know what you think in the comments below. And hope to see you at our next review. Bye.